Well, welcome to season 2 of OpsTalks. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're really excited about this season, and we have a really great guest. But before I introduce the guest, make sure you like and subscribe to OpsTalks on your YouTube or media channel of choice. This episode, we're going to be talking about smart scaling. And what does smart scaling mean? It really means avoiding software sprawl. We're noticing in the industry that as property management companies get way more complex, they're introducing a lot more software into their stack. And if your software isn't integrated or isn't talking and optimizing your leasing team's workflows, it's actually leading to more expenses. So this is a large problem that's quietly killing property management companies. And so we really wanted to talk about scaling smart. And I couldn't think of a better guest when we're talking about operators and partners that help us scale it smart than our good friends at AppFolio. And love to introduce Bailey, who's the Director of Strategic Partnerships at AppFolio. Welcome to OpsTalks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andre. I appreciate you having me here, and I am really glad to be here. That's something we say at AppFolio. So.
Awesome. Great. And by the way, I don't know if you know, you won the prize for having the shortest drive for an OpsTalks guest here because you just drove down from Santa Barbara.
Yes, I am fortunate enough to be local in Santa Barbara, and it was a super quick run down here, and glad that we can do this in person.
That's great. Thank
Thank you.
you again for coming. And, one of the things, I think we talked about this briefly, right, is we want to talk about the human side of Bailey. And so we want to learn a little bit more about your path and how you got to AppFolio and what's a typical day for Bailey like at AppFolio.
Yeah, thank you. So as Andre mentioned, I've been with AppFolio for about 7.5 years at this point. My current focus is on building our integration marketplace, AppFolio Stack, which of course Rentley is a part of. And
Woo! We made it!
We made it, yes. We made it too. And building kind of differentiated experiences with our partners that really deliver value to our mutual customers. And so it's a win-win-win scenario. I love building partnerships and working with third parties. Prior to AppFolio, I spent close to a decade in the e-commerce and performance marketing space. And so I worked with different brands on their affiliate marketing strategies and other digital marketing strategies, managing our agency partnership relationships, and then some former people at the company I was with, CJ Affiliate, moved over to AppFolio, and we're like, hey, there's this really great company in this great industry. You should come check it out. And so that's where I've been since then.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And what excites you about sort of the partnership lens? It sounds like you were doing this at CJ and you were doing it in previous roles. What kind of drives you? What's exciting about partnerships in general?
Yeah, I think it's, for one, just personally, the relationship building side of things. I think that's something I'm passionate about, and getting to work with companies that have influence and are really an extension of the company that you're working for. So like an extension of AppFolio. And so you help amplify our voice, and then we do the same for you. And that's something I really enjoy, and I love when I can bring a partnership to the table that actually delivers value and results and is impactful to the business. And so that's kind of what gets me going every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And also, too, you get to be on podcasts and probably get free tacos after.
Tacos are my favorite meal.
We do, yeah. On a serious note, we're excited, too, to have you on. Obviously, we work with AppFolio on the self-guided touring front and integrating smart home, and we'll get to that. But, what's really exciting about having you on the show is being at a PMS platform that has really skyrocketed. I mean, I remember AppFolio 10, 12 years ago is very different from the AppFolio. I was lucky enough to attend your conference this past year, and it was huge. I mean, it was enormous, and it just showed the scale of how much AppFolio has grown in the last decade. And so what's interesting is you have a unique lens, not just in single family. I know you're growing your multifamily base too, so it's really exciting to see that. What's interesting about you too is you probably see and hear like a lot of the different profiles, customer profiles of client that come to you trying to solve problems. From your perspective and from your understanding and experience, where you typically see company workflows break down, right? And they come to you for help, or they kind of vent to you. Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. A lot of AppFolio customers come to AppFolio smaller, and it's because they want to scale their business that they move over to us. And so they're looking for a solution that way. And I think, when you are smaller, you can afford to do things that don't scale, right? You're establishing your company, you're building your brand, you're trying to figure out what works and doesn't work, and then you acquire a portfolio, and then your properties went from being 10 minutes apart to 30 minutes apart, and you suddenly have to plan drive time for your techs. And so things start to change. And, it sounds obvious, but in property management, we get stuck firefighting. It's like, there's a leak here. There's an issue with a lease there. You grew quickly, you're just kind of in this like reactive mode. And so this is actually what we call the performance gap. And it's a divide between kind of what you need to achieve and the limitations of your current tools. And so I really think, as you're growing and right before you hit that next level of scale, take the time to kind of codify your processes and workflows and think about it more, not that you're just digitizing tasks. Like everyone can do that, but shift towards a mindset of managing outcomes, like we talked about a little bit. But and this is getting increasingly important with the onset of AI, really, where agents can finally execute these routine but actually very complex workflows self-sufficiently that could never be done before. It was really like automation before. And what that's doing is freeing your teams or property management teams to focus on kind of those more meaningful relationships with people like residents or their owners, and kind of taking away that monotony of just painful task management.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm glad you mentioned, it's not a podcast until you say the word AI. So, I mean,
what year is it?
That's the bingo card that we've hit. So, it kind of lends to the next question about smart scaling, but I kind of want to go back into your AI point. You mentioned, a lot of people come to AppFolio when their processes are breaking down. I know internally and externally for our product lines too, we've been looking at ways to adopt AI to just optimize our operations, but then also, kind of make it more customer facing as well, right? What are the interesting ways that you've seen people adopt the AI workflows meaningfully that actually has impact, and where are you seeing the more resistance with regards to AI?
I think we're at a really interesting inflection point in technology. Like you said, everyone is doing or should be doing some flavor of AI.
Right.
If they're not, but it's, sometimes their resistance to it from customers is like they're afraid of change. It's, it's processes that they've done for a long time. You think about the payable space, and they want to sign a paper check, because they have. And but really, can you quantify like the impact that those tools, the AI agents, or we call them performers, that have on your business? Can you quantify the impact that those things are driving versus just putting an AI tag on something because it's delivered, with AI in the background.
Or just, some whiz-bangy thing. And I signed up for AI with AppFolio with Bailey, and it's like, okay, but there's more to it, right? So
but there's a lot of noise, and I think it's going to be a challenge and an interesting ride to see just like who can actually deliver.
Well, you mentioned too, a lot of people that scale with you, they come to you with a problem they're solving for, right? And property management is pretty sophisticated, as you mentioned, right? There's so many parts of the resident life cycle that you're solving for. What would you say are like the top 3 reasons, right? Like, is it work orders? Is it leasing automation? Like, what are the top 3 that you're like, oh yeah, like I see this all the time for AppFolio clients that come on board that you're like, we can solve this for you?
Yeah, I think they come over sometimes with a lot of disparate systems, and they just realize that has become inefficient.
So it's just a general system fragmentation they're experiencing.
We want to consolidate.
Hey, I have 4 platforms to do one thing. You guys could do all those things.
We want to consolidate, and we want it to be on a more modern technology that can scale with us, and is also, compliant and provides the security behind it, because that's also a real threat in the space as well. And so, being able to trust us, there's that piece as well.
I remember, I used to tout like SOC 2 compliance, and I was like, that matters. Like that's like ISO and SOC 2 matters. And I think after the fact, people like, especially now with things changing so quickly, I mean, you do have to consider those things because, when you're enrolling all these new technologies, making sure that you have a standardized system that's compliant is super key. I mean, not to be like all operations on everyone, but it's like, that matters, because you don't want to adopt something too quick and then you kind of have an oopsie moment later that costs you a lot more. Like we see that all the time, just in general, where people, go the fast and cheap way, but they don't do it the right way. And so I think that's something that we always try to emphasize, and that you probably come across too with compliance. It's like, you could do this other thing this separate way, but compliance does matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's real risk for your business at the end of the day.
No.
Right. Third, I think, they're looking for a technology leader too that is innovative and will stay ahead of the curve, and that's something that we've always tried to do between, cloud AI or mobile AI, and moving from there. So.
Well, what do you think? I mean, what have you seen as we talk about platform fragmentation? You had mentioned it, right? And obviously, having one platform versus 4 obviously may have some just general cost savings attributed to it outside of like the dollars. What are hidden costs that you find that people may have of just having way too many systems?
Yeah. Well, I think of this...
Or systems that aren't integrated.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think of this like, open your iPhone or Android, whatever, today. Right. There's literally an app for everything.
Yeah.
You sit there and we scroll through pages and pages of apps. And in prop tech, we call this the Frankenstack. And so it's kind of like a tangle of all these different solutions that you have. And, Apple, I'm using them as an example here, is a leader in user experience. They've done a good job in providing tools like search and folders to kind of combat all of these apps that you have. But I don't know about you, but I've probably spent hours navigating through my phone, trying to just find the app I'm looking for. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the folder that it should be in, and where it is. And like the search doesn't work when I don't know the name. And so kind of what I'm getting at here is that in business and really in life too, but time is an opportunity cost. And so that's, time spent for your teams trying to move data from A to B when something's not integrated, or even just having to navigate and log into different systems when there's different authentication methods and different password structures. And that also provides more security risk and exposure of more entry points for a bad actor to come in. But I think, other costs of that are like when something isn't working, just the time to diagnose, not even resolve, just diagnose the issue becomes more complex. And as there are more and more systems, like those are just all the different fragments you need to consider. But there is a time and place, though, where it can work really elegantly together and truly elevate kind of the business performance of a company when they use 2 systems together, like self-guided touring with the Frontly.
Who would do that?
But I do think, in the spirit of looking at your tech stack, companies should really be looking at what is truly driving ROI and NOI for my team. And, we see AppFolio as being that unified experience, turning that operational noise into clear and actionable recommendations.
especially as human capital becomes so much more important, right? Like you want them to do more meaningful work and you want efficiency. And I'll tell you, like I've shadowed leasing offices, saw them, we were doing a deployment or something,
Yeah.
and you see the same story play out and play out over and over again, where you literally have a leasing agent who is trying to do 10 things at once, right? And, their ultimate, the service we should provide to them is, hey, how can you do something quicker so that you're not having to spend so many times in multiple apps or multiple platforms to do something? So I think that's where I'm really happy with this partnership, and just with, people that integrate, is like you can have that streamlined experience, reduce the friction on the people doing the work because they can do more meaningful work. Like I see a leasing agent turn to me and they want to help me, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing that I'm with Rently, right? They think, oh yeah, this is a guy who wants to rent an apartment.
He's here. He's a prospect.
He doesn't know I'm shadowing their deployment,
Yeah.
but they care. Like they drop everything, the 10 things they're working on to pay attention to you as a prospect and help you with the tour. And so all those things add up. If we can reduce, 10 minutes from your day-to-day, 10 minutes from your tour, 10 minutes from, having to manage something else in a disparate platform, that stacks, right? It stacks to, Steve Jobs used to have this quote, since you're an Apple fan, I don't know if you know it, but when they were building the Mac, I remember the boot time was too long. So he'd tell them, the boot time is, 2 minutes versus 60 seconds, or someone will correct me in the comments. It's something like that. But he said, if you can reduce the boot time by 60 seconds, that's a minute. And then 10 million people are going to be using this computer. So that's 10 million minutes a year. That's a lifetime. You could be saving lives with a stronger boot time. So if you think about it from that lens, like integrations present an opportunity to streamline and just optimize human capital, especially now.
Yeah, but I think your point on the Apple comment or Steve Jobs comment is it's actually not being focused just on the tasks, but the discipline that we call like real estate performance management. It's managing towards outcomes.
Yeah.
So it's not, a software completed 30 maintenance requests, like,
right,
or fielded. Cool. But what if I had to touch every single one of those maintenance requests?
Right.
Like the real outcome that you want to drive towards is, it reduced maintenance dispatches by 10%, which cost us or saves us $250 per maintenance tech dispatch. And so like shifting that mindset to performance, which is what Steve Jobs was doing there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go on to the next topic. What are some workflows in your opinion that should always be automated? And I'll ask the counterpoint to this. What shouldn't?
Yeah. In prepping for this, I think, using our keyword here, that there's a shift with AI.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore. It's not what should be automated. It's actually what shouldn't. And the theme.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay.
So, the theme here that we're talking about is like, how do you differentiate your brand where you show up with the personalization of human touch and let the efficiency of automation take care of everything else. And so, taking a step back and really thinking about your business and where human interaction should be elevated and taking away kind of the mundane reactive tasks, because you actually won't need to do that anymore, which is pretty incredible. And then tying this, back to property managers, I was actually at the Happy Co Summit.
Oh, cool. Happy Co,
about
also an integration partner. Great people.
Another integration partner, I know.
And they have a great summit, too. It's in La
Jolla.
La Jolla, yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was lovely. Great people.
Shout out to Happy Co. He was also on season 1.
At a larger scale in multifamily, you're solving, in some cases, multi-million-dollar challenges.
But there was really interesting discussion there on how in multifamily, centralization is starting to become kind of the norm, and you have less team members regularly on site. And so the one piece that is consistent in on-site interactions is your maintenance techs.
Yeah.
And so now maintenance techs are no longer operating behind the scenes. Like, they're really the face of your business.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, that might change how you think about how your maintenance techs show up and operate and what the expectations are of them as well. But
they're really leaning into that, by the way, with the new Fix Summit promo for you guys at Happy Co. They're actually leaning into that, kind of the face of the business being the maintenance worker, and actually having a specific summit for them. I think it's in Colorado or something, but the Fix Summit. Now they're having 2 summits.
2 summits.
Yeah, now they have 2. So
good for them.
To back the whole statement you made about being the face of the brand.
Yeah.
Increasingly being also the maintenance worker.
Yeah. And I think, what I'm getting at here is like, you only have so many moments to impact a resident or prospect or owner. And so really it's like, how do we elevate people and allow them to perform better within the context of technology and free them? And, we've had some retention struggles over the last year. Like maybe this will finally solve it. Like that's actually a really exciting time where technology is moving at a pace where this can actually happen. Yeah,
that's great. How do tools or how can tools like Rently and AppFolio work together to streamline workflows? How do we do that, Bailey?
How do we know? Well, obviously, Rently provides a differentiated self-guided leasing touring or showing technology in.
Right.
I'll do a plug for the AppFolio Stack Marketplace.
Please do. We got to have plugs.
Where you can come check out Rently and leverage the integration. But I think we really need to focus on making sure it's a seamless experience that doesn't feel disruptive to, not only prospects, but your leasing teams or whomever is interacting with it and residents. And, we view AppFolio as like the performance platform. It's a native AI architecture and data flows through our system with, 360-degree context. But we have to ensure that our systems are connected at the right place. And I think in this new era, integrations will continue to evolve. And there's, a lot of opportunity to provide differentiated experiences and start to look at what that really means as more and more technology can self-sufficiently do the work for us and where that handoff happens.
Yeah, I think even when you walked in, our product guy was hitting you up with requests on things that we could do even beyond our current integration, which is really exciting. But no, we're excited working with you guys, obviously, helping to integrate the self-guided touring experience with the AppFolio experience. But then other than that too, like tying the whole resident lifecycle management that we do beyond the leasing, right? Like move in, move out with smart products, perimeter access with the controller that you were accessing too. So really excited about that. And it's a journey, right? Because integrations will evolve as residents and property managers become more enveloped in technology. We're really all about making it as frictionless as possible. So we're really happy, to have you on and, kind of work together on making as frictionless as experience as possible and evolving that over the next, many, many years, because you guys have been around for quite a while now. And so we're really excited to continue down that path together.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome time. It's an exciting time.
I guess, you talked a little bit about it, but we'll lean into it. What emerging technologies are you most excited for about operational efficiency? Is it AI? Is it something else that's on your radar? What excites you at AppFolio?
Yeah, I think the way that we think about it is actually we're excited to move beyond just operational efficiency. I think we've actually, as an industry, probably over-rotated on that a little bit. And it feels reactive. It's like we have to do this faster and complete X, Y, and Z faster. And so the power of having technology that can actually do the work for you is and deliver results is going to provide more satisfaction. It's going to lead to better performance for properties and for teams as well. And so I think that piece is exciting, and we're seeing that where it could, like AI can autonomously move through workflows that you set and are defined to your unique company and how you run your operations, and that's really important. But outside of property management, I don't know if that's relevant here.
Yeah, why not? You make it relevant.
Why not? I love using tools and AI for the things that you just don't do regularly enough.
Are you Claude coding on the side?
Yeah, you know me. that you just don't do like regularly enough, and so you struggle through them. You're like, I remember this Excel formula, but like, how does it apply to what I'm doing here?
Okay.
And I think it's pretty incredible that in a prompt, I can just say like, I want to see these results, and not just like give me the formula or what Google would have done before, but like this is giving me the actual results. It's showing me how it did the work. It's providing me a report or summary or PDF or however I want to deliver it. And it takes like, you can do that in a matter of seconds for something that would have taken you hours. And so that part excites me, is something I use, daily.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome.
and something that you can start to do within the AppFolio platform too.
That's great.
With our Realm X performers.
Oh.
But I do think taking it back to the property management lens, that there's going to be a shift where property managers are like orchestrating these connected workflows. They're all going to be talking together, and less about like tackling task after task. It'll be like, okay, let's optimize these workflows. The AI is going to guide us into what we should be doing and how we should be reacting to things. And I think that that's, really what we're after at AppFolio, is how you can use our platform to drive real performance. And then the ultimate goal is, residents, investors, your owners are all getting more value out of the ecosystem. Like, they don't need to be in conflict with each other. They can all get more value out of it. And, rising tide lifts all boats.
Right. I actually really like that statement you made, because, as I was kind of thinking about what excites me, and I guess, from one thing that we've always done is we've always had a software and a hardware component to our business, right? So we've always been seen as the self-guided touring provider, but also a smart home provider. And, one of the explanations I once heard people talk about AI about was, AI is not, AI is a horizontal technology, meaning it touches everything, and it's going to touch everything. And what we see today is just a fraction of what we'll see in 5, 10 years, similar to the internet, right? And so what's really exciting is, having hardware and software really interweave more because of technologies like AI, right? And, other geeky things on the smart home side, like protocols enhancements, like some of the things that we're doing in R&D are really exciting about extending the reach of IoT, and now having sort of the physical hardware and the physical software, the physical hardware and the software sort of blended, and having AI as a horizontal layer that connects the two is super, super exciting for us, because now we can actually see the interplay between hardware, software, and, to your point, overall leading to that better customer experience, because now, they don't have to do it in this platform or that platform, or they don't have to wonder about the insights or the performance that their IoT device or whatever is having. It can just tell you. Yeah. So that's what's really exciting, is outside of the technology, because the technology is exciting, and maybe that's why people get lost. It's the actual product enhancement that will come through it, and the experience that you get from it. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's a great way to frame it. And I guess, where can people learn more about what AppFolio is doing in the space?
If you want to learn more about AppFolio, we're always happy to speak with you. But you can come to our industry conference that you've so graciously highlighted. It's called Future. It is September 28th through October 1st in beautiful San Diego this year. And not only can you, learn how to drive real performance with AppFolio, but you get to interact with industry peers and as well partners like yourself and like Rentley here, and learn how we can work together and really elevate the industry.
That's great. And it's a great conference. Definitely join. And again, that was our episode, OpsTalks Season 2. Episode 1, coming out strong with AppFolio. Thank you all for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Appreciate you, Bailey, for coming down.
Thank you. Really glad to be here.
Thank you again, and thank you all for joining, and see you next time.